Before I begin, let me just say this. This pasta is from a while ago and was originally posted on 4chan's X board. I encountered it sometime later on a Creepypasta thread on Beau and fell in love with the story. And now, as a gift for my viewers, for my 100th video, I'll be narrating this over the next few weeks with one chapter, episode, whatever, a week, until I'm done. And so with that, let's get this show on the road. I think I might be going insane. Either that, or something really strange is happening. To start, I have no history of mental illness. I've been depressed once or twice, but for normal reasons. Breakup, homesick, etc. I smoke pot occasionally and drink socially, but that's the extent of my drug use. However, I think I've begun to hallucinate or something. I am not a believer in the paranormal, but I figured you guys could help. I think this started about 5 months ago. I was still seeing my now ex-boyfriend, and we were living together. Things were alright, the relationship had cooled off a bit, but there was nothing going on that I considered cause for alarm or anything like that until one night I woke up. I swear I heard a man say my name right next to my ear. It was so clear, I actually sat up in bed and asked my ex what he wanted. He said he hadn't heard anything and looked really shaken up. He had been awake texting someone. He said it was his brother. I didn't think twice of the voice, figuring it was a dream. The texting, on the other hand, bothered me. On top of that, over the next few weeks, my ex began complaining. He said he felt like he was being watched in our house. He got extremely jumpy, even snapping and almost hitting me when I surprised him. Naturally, I started getting suspicious. To make a long story shorter, one day I was over at a friend's house and my cell rang, my ex's number. When I answered, there was no sound, like a lost connection. I thought it was weird and I called him back. He said he hadn't called me, but he seemed really strained. Already paranoid, I decided to head back to our house and see just what was up. Right as I approached the door, I heard it again. A man's voice, same one, right in my ear. Except this time, he was shushing me. I froze and looked around. Everything was quiet. Way too quiet. It was as though a blanket had been thrown over everything to keep things muffled. And this is a pretty lively neighborhood. There at least should have been birds or bugs or dogs barking. It made my hair stand on end, and I hesitated entering the house. While I was pausing, I just happened to catch a woman sneaking out the side door. I might have missed her if I hadn't stopped to look around. That was just the beginning, though. Shortly after this, as you can imagine, I moved into my own apartment. This is where the crazy starts. Every so often, everything will go quiet, just like that night. No sound, no movement, nothing. Even when I tried to make noise by turning on the TV or clearing my throat, it all sounded muffled until the silence passes. Freaked out by this, I mentioned it to my mom in passing. That's when she reminded me of something. When I was little, I had an imaginary friend named Beau. I used to make up all kinds of stories about Beau and the adventures that he had, and I'd love to tell my mom all about them. I only vaguely remember this stuff, but Mom told me what she knew anyway. Apparently, Beau was the king of the quiet place. Upon being asked where the quiet place was, little me just shrugged. Apparently, it wasn't a very nice place. Very dark and too quiet. And Beau got lonely. So one day, he went searching for someone to play with. And that's how he found me. When my mom told me about this, she didn't laugh or joke about it like she does when she's talking about my older brother's imaginary dinosaur. Beau wasn't all fun and games. Beau was creepy. She never saved the drawings I did of him. But there was one that really stuck in her mind. It was a picture of Beau in his kingdom. The quiet place was all very dark blue and black, with shadowy figures barely standing out. King Beau was pale and had a huge smile full of sharp teeth. The look of the drawing was unsettling enough that she showed it to my pediatrician and asked if she should be worried. He told her it was normal. The reason she told me all of this was that there were a few other strange details. Sometimes she'd come into my room when I was playing, and there would be a heavy, oppressive silence. Some nights, I'd wake her up by singing in my room to scare the silence away. I was a quiet kid, but for a time, I really receded into myself. I'd wake up crying with nightmares, or complaining that Beau was whispering to me and wouldn't leave me alone. Little by little, this tapered off. Mom assumed that I had grown out of my imaginary friend, and it was over. I was pretty unnerved. Since talking to Mom, the past month and a half have been increasingly creepy. I've started sleepwalking. I'll wake up in different parts of my house in weird positions. I've also started playing music pretty much constantly to keep the silences from being noticeable. A few times, I've sworn I heard a man's voice, but it's been muffled. Finally tonight, it really kicked up. I woke up about an hour ago because I heard someone say my name. I didn't jump because this was pretty normal by now. However, I did open my eyes. On the other side of my bed, staring at me, there were the eyes of a man. I could only see the top of his head, like he was crouched down. My heart basically stopped, and he stared right at me and smiled. I only saw his eyes do this. He was completely pale, like unnaturally, sickly white, and his eyes were milky, like they had cataracts. But I swear, he was as real looking as you or I. I mean, I could see the lines on his forehead, the individual white hairs on him, even some pores. I don't know how long we were staring at each other, but he slowly sank back down past the edge of the bed and out of my sight. I shot out of there like I was on fire. I ran to my front door, grabbed my keys, and drove to my friend's house. I wanted to call the cops, but my friend convinced me that we should go back over and check things out first, just in case I was dreaming. We found absolutely nothing, but he did complain of feeling like he was being watched. So now, I'm sitting in my kitchen. Friend had to work and needed to be up early, but he lives just a couple minutes away and he's on speed dial. I'm not going back into my bedroom until daylight. The way I see it, I have two options. On one hand, I could definitely be going nuts. I'm hearing things, seeing things. I have trouble sleeping. Maybe this is a manifestation of some defect in my brain. If this is the case, this is only going to get worse, and I probably need to see a shrink, which freaks me out. I don't know how to tell my family that I'm going insane. On the other hand, it could be that Beau has come back from the quiet place, and he still wants to play. I can't believe I'm even considering that. It's 1:30 a.m. I've got the radio on, and I swear that the person I saw next to my bed was real. I wasn't sleep paralyzed, and I wasn't still dreaming, because I definitely felt myself wake up from the terror, and I could definitely move out of there as soon as I wasn't having a heart attack. So what do I do? If it helps, I can tell the stories of Beau that Mom told me about. They're not that great because I was like 4, so bear with me. This is pieced together from what I remember and what my mom told me. I really, really hope this doesn't draw something out by talking about it. I mean, I'm really paranoid here.